Military personnel of Reddit, what's the best, weirdest, funniest punishment you've seen handed down by a superior? USMC here. In our unit we had one guy that would constantly hum songs. Well, one day our CO had enough of his behavior, so he tells him to report to his locker. So he goes to his locker and stands in front of it. CO tells him to get inside the locker. When he does, he shuts and locks the door with him inside. He reaches into his pocket and pulls out a quarter and pushes it through the vent holes and tells the guy to start singing. And tells him that whenever someone puts a quarter in the slot he was to sing another song. This went on for 6 hours. The guy made around $15 in quarters and we were all in pain from laughing at him. Needless to say, he acquired the name Jukebox and never hummed again. Edit. Whoa. Thanks for the gold. What are they going to do? Bend my dog tags? Take my birthday away? Chuckle chuckle. Yep. Apparently a Navy captain did just that once on purpose by deliberately sailing parallel to the international dateline, then slipping across it right on midnight. Tomorrow suddenly became yesterday and no birthday for you this year, ya chucklehead. In us army basic training, one soldier lost his canteen and asked the drill sergeant if he had seen it. The drill was angry at this for some reason and made the privates wander around for a few hours asking all kinds of inanimate objects if they had seen his canteen. So things like, truck, have you seen my canteen? Think I can get this one. Don't know if you guys know what outdoor barracks are, but it's where your front door leads to outside, like a motel. Consider a dorm where all the doors lead to outside. If you were on the 3rd or 4th floor etc, your door would lead to a catwalk balcony, right outside. Anyway, it's me and my boy let's call him Will. Will is 21 and is authorized 72 ounces worth of beer in his fridge, 6-pack. Room inspection time, mother duckers. It better be ducking clean. Me and will get some awesome 1st degree luck from our guardian assholes and we get Gunny to do our inspection. Will's got a sock on the floor, a ducking sock. Look, I don't know if you guys know about military cleanliness and inspections and it, but when you're getting inspected by Gunny, a sock on the ground is the equivalent of a pregnant dead hooker. Gunny goes Super Saiyan. And now starts the beginning of the end. Gunny has turned into a ducking hungry, hateful hound, and is now going to start smelling every little nook and cranny to smash Will. And since Will is my roomie, I am going to feel the wrath too. Also, when you're getting inspected, anything you lock up, wall lockers, desks, drawers, usually won't get asked to be opened. But if it's not locked, it's free game. Will didn't lock his wall locker up. Gunny's eyes open up to the size of my asshole after getting ducked by the core. It's the other sock. God damn it, Will. Along with this sock is a cup filled with pennies. Yes, pennies. Like $19 worth of pennies. So you do the math. Gunny instantly pulls the penny pot and projects it all over the room. There's pennies everywhere. They're on the floor, in my bed, in the shower, the sink, some still in the cup, in Gunny's hat, everywhere. Gunny starts sniffing more and opens the fridge. Remember how you're allowed 72 ounces of beer? Well, Gunny finds some it. Holy mother of God. Marine, you better hope my math sucks. Which IT does. So give me a minute. But if this it is over your limit. Will has 3 12 ounces cans and a 40. The 40 was half empty by the way, but by default that adds up to, drum roll PLZ, 76 ounces. He overdid it by 4. Ducking ounces. At this point Gunny is calm, and he looks at us. Here's another thing you probably don't know. Gunnies are not mythical creatures you hear about. They are real. There's a lot of documentation on them. Recently there was a documentary put out about them. What I'm getting at is that when a gunny is chewing you out, and then becomes calm, it's because he's seen it. He's seen the fate of the 2 ounces. It's perfect. It'll break them down, repent for their sins and make them thoughtless. Order following Marines. We saw a twinkle in his eye, a tear, and a joyous smile as he whispered to himself, it's perfect. You guys, I like this room. I like it a lot. I also like that basketball court over there. There was a basketball court about 50 yards in the courtyard. I want those two together. You see that basketball court, devils? Yes, Gunny. I want your room there. You may think this is some ass backwards it, which it is. But in the Marine Corps, ass backwards and is actually the preferred method of progress. We knew exactly what he wanted. A good old Chinese field day, which is when you take all the contents of the room out of the room until it's completely gutted, and clean it, then return the contents. Only Gunny put his mythical spin on it, and made us literally set the room up identically on the duck in court. So we get started, and this it isn't easy. First off, I forgot my keys at the shop. Gunny ain't letting us go back, so I can't get my keys to unlock my coffin bed with drawers attached underneath, my wall locker, or anything to make it easy to move. Gunny stated the guidelines that he doesn't cover how we get the room there. Our technique started off kitty cornering things, but that it sucked after about 2 hours. So it got to the point where we just started to straight up roll it. Desks, drawers, beds, everything in the barracks is usually made to last, either out of thick wood or some sort of aluminum alloy. It was the metal-lit orchestra of 1000 toddlers banging on pans. People are looking at us, laughing at us, sitting down to ducking watch us. This it is the talk of the whole base. A group of dudes were about ready to play basketball. Not today, mother duckers. Unless you wanna sleep on the court, you're out of ducking luck. Will gets a fabulous idea. Gunny steps out and it's SGT watching us. SGT. Gunny said we could use any method to get the stuff on the court. Okay, we'd like to run to the PX and get a skateboard. It's about 1.5 miles away. Okay, good luck. You got 20 minutes. We're sweaty as duck, might I add you. And our uniforms are it. You have to look good everywhere you go, including the PX. Looking sloppy and half dead as duck, we run to PX, find a skateboard, and run back. I know I was brief writing the skateboard pickup, but believe me that it was something in its own in the 100 July North Carolina heat. We get back. Giant wall locker number 1. Its wheels should be a little lighter since the 19,000 pennies have been carefully removed from its empty space. Right, John. This skateboard is gonna make this it hella easy. Let's pick up the wall locker and kitty it onto the board. Okay, Will. We start slowly, kittying it on the boa. Snap, 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 cracker, and mother duck in pop nigger. That it broke right away. Right the duck away. Like pedestrian status in a crosswalk. Anyway, that's about it. We continued to move our it until about 7 PM when it started to rain and Gunny finally returned like, oh I forgot about these numbnuts, and it's starting to rain. I think I could get in trouble. Not entirely sure, but I could. He let end the routine. Right when we were about to get fun with it, we just had gotten the lamps, and were going to use people to holding our posters to simulate walls. After that, a few of our buddies helped us back in. What a duck-in day in North Cackalack. Got caught on basic with my iPod and I ran around the camp for near 2 hours with my iPod over my head shouting I'm a stupid FK for bringing my iPod in the field as the enemy was attacking our camp. I then proceeded to put my iPod in a plastic bag, then taped it onto my helmet, and from there on I responded to private iPod. When my instructor shouted play, I had to sing. Skip, I had to switch song, etc. It lasted 2 weeks. Even during the night when I had 2 hours to sleep. During Beast at Yusufa, one of my fellow cadets started laughing at one of our flight and co's whistling that to the left song. Carter went off on him. Basic Cadet Snow. Are you laughing? Yes, sir. Why are you laughing? Do you know what happened today? No. See, Bruce Willis died today. Do you hate Bruce Willis? No, sir. Then why are you laughing at his death? No excuse. See, today is a day of national tragedy. We need to memorialize his death. Pick up one of those rocks. Does so. This is now the Bruce Willis Memorial Rock. What should we name it? Sir, I do not know. We're gonna name it Bruce. From now until the end of basic, you will carry Bruce with you at all times. If I ask you how Bruce is doing, you will show me Bruce and sound off yippee-ki-yay. Sir, do you understand? Yes, sir. How's Bruce? Yippee-ki-yay, sir. Marine Boot Camp. We had a guy that somehow got his watch through the indoc. They take all your crap when you first get there. Well, the DIs found out he had it when they saw him wearing it one day. So they put him in the squad bay trash can and put the lid on it. Every time they walked by and kicked it, he'd pop out with his watch and yell, Sir, the time on deck is 09:45. And then go back into his can like the freaking Grouch from Sesame Street. It was really hard not to laugh at that. Edit. Thanks for the gold, kind stranger. My brother told me that when he was in basic, a drill sergeant yelled at this guy to beat his face, meaning to do push-ups. Said guy had no clue it meant that, and promptly punched himself in the face. Really hard, and fell to the ground. The drill sergeant had to walk that one off, and my brother said you could hear him laughing hysterically as he walked behind a building. Not totally relevant, but I figured I'd share. Edit. Thank you all for the sweet, tender, juicy karma. You honor me greatly. I can almost definitely guarantee I'm going to screw it up. Thank you. All the same. A fellow Lance Corporal at the time let out a sneeze. Huge snot rocket pops out and lands on his cheek. I mean, just one beast of a thing. My sergeant standing in front of him talking to him while this happened let out a "what the duck you nasty itch." Put it back, and right back up it went. Funniest it I have seen. Edit. Gold, you sir or madam must be confused. Now notice that spider on the wall behind you. Pocket sand and run. Thanks. I was in a gender mixed company in basic. The third floor of the barracks was split with females on one half and males on the other. Males were not allowed in the female half and vice versa. My platoon was out back practicing throwing grenade bodies, and a window on the female side of the third floor opened and a male sneaked out of the window onto the ledge. It was immediately obvious to everyone, including our drill SGT, that he had been in there messing around with a female, and a drill SGT must have come down the hall, forcing him to get out onto the ledge so he wouldn't get caught. Our drill SGT looked at the guy for a minute and then yelled really sarcastically, "Don't do it, private. You have lots to live for." Then they put him on suicide watch and made him hand over his belts and tie and shoelaces and everything that he could hang himself with, and made him drag his newly bare mattress out into the hallway next to the fire guard desk and sleep out there every night until we graduated 4 weeks later. And they made his battle buddy sleep on the floor next to him for the first week. TLDR. Male caught messing around with female. Treated like potential suicide for remaining month of BCT. Edit. Thanks for the gold. I forgot to mention that we all called the guy airborne for the rest of basic. Guy in basic dropped the biggest turd you've ever seen in the commode. So he shows the drill sergeants, who then make him suit up in full combat gear, weapon and all, and guard it all night. The whole halt. Who goes there? Pretty amusing. I saw the guy be forced to slow dance with a mop for 1 hour straight. When someone got caught going the wrong way or cutting in the chow line in OSSET, basic for infantry, the drill SGTS would make them wonder about the DFAC at random, repeating beep beep. Wrong way. It was totally quiet otherwise, and they seemed like broken robots. Edit. OSSET is not just for infantry. Sorry, it's when you do basic and you're 8 at same place. Stands for 1 station unit training. USMC boat. One kid on fire watch failed to notice a DI coming on deck, which means you immediately salute and report your post. So the DI ran up to the rifle rack, smacked it, and yelled, "Bam, you're dead." He tried to respond, but was cut off by the DI. "You're a ghost now. You can't talk. Go act like a ghost." Then the kid had to wander around the squad bay for the rest of his 2 hours fire watch acting like a ghost. And he took that responsibility with a stride. Plenty of ridiculous I'm a goos noises and ducking with people's racks. We were all laughing our asses off for the next hour till our senior got pissed. Edit. Acting like a boat. I wrote a bad check while stationed in Korea. $2.06 over the limit. My punishment? To cut the parade field grass with scissors by morning. Seen a guy on a full body waiver for exercises. The instructor gave him 1000 smiley frownies. Smile then frown is one. The hardest, easiest exercise ever. Edit. For those who don't know, a full body waiver is something to the degree of cannot lift objects, no walking for more than 200 meters in one setting, no strenuous activities, etc. Basically making all normal physical activities out of the question. One of my friends from my first base and I were swapping basic stories, and I think he had the scariest. On the first day of 3rd week they hadn't performed up to standards. and the MTI told them he'd be staying late that night to try to fix them. The MTI calls his wife to let her know he'd missed dinner and would be home late, and she blew the duck up. She was screaming at the MTI about how he's just using his job as an excuse, how he doesn't even care about her, and while all this is going on the MTI is just pleading with her. She hangs up on him, and the MTI looks at the flight with this expression of cold hate, and says he was going to his office for a minute to think of an appropriate way to punish the flight for their it. Basic training is a lot of talk. The MTIs can PT you until your body gives out and scream at you, but they can't actually hurt you. In that moment though, as the room waited for the MTI to come back, they weren't so sure that would be the case. He was going to make them pay, and my friend said that was the only time in basic he felt true fear. It turns out, it was all an act. The MTI had that genuinely happen during a previous flight, and it had terrified them into compliance so well he got his wife to pull it off every flight afterwards. Another from basic was a private was caught walking to the showers without wearing his clothes, just holding his towel and walking nude. The showers were in the same bay, and it was just males in the bay, but a female drill from another platoon came in and saw him, and made him drop and give 50 push-ups while nude. In the Marine Corps, when we really ducked up, we would go fishing. It is where you squat down like you're sitting in a chair and hold a shovel out in front of you in the air like a fishing pole. Then you just sit there for a long time, and if the shovel would start to droop down, my sergeant would grab the tip of the shovel and start to shake it and make me pretend I was reeling in the big one. One time me and a buddy got in trouble together, so they made him fish and me flop around on the deck like a fish he had already caught for almost an hour. In basic, when going to throw out some trash, left my rifle, which you are not supposed to do. Myself and two of my buddies had to hold onto our assault packs in one hand like a shield and long sticks in the other like a spear. Then we had to stack up in a line on a tree and push with our shields for 5 minutes with our spears raised yelling war cries. Apparently the Spartans did this for training, and apparently if I don't have my rifle in a combat situation, I will need to know how to do this. A guy I worked with had a habit of falling asleep at his desk. He was a real scumbag. Unfortunately, he was also a 1-star general's son. They made him sit at his desk with one of those exercise yoga ball things. The ducker still fell asleep, but he would hit his head on the desk or fall over. He also decided to tell his supervisor he had an appointment, but instead took a nap in his room. They called the cops on him and had him arrested for dereliction of duty. Fun stuff. Week 1 in army basic training, we had a soldier ask for an omelette in chow line, which was not allowed because there was absolutely no time to make custom omelettes for every single basic training soldier. The cooks started making the omelette when a drill sergeant asked what the hell was going on. The basic training soldier replied, "Go around, drill sergeant. I'm waiting on an omelette." Needless to say, this was the wrong thing to say and do. Week 1 in basic training, our platoon motto was henceforth "Go around, drill sergeant. I'm waiting on an omelette," and the basic training soldier was henceforth named PVT Omelette. A recruit in USMC boot camp thought he was special because he was an Eagle Scout. The drill instructor picked up on this and during PT took him into the woods and made him build a nest. Then he had to squat over it in order to keep his eggs warm. Officers can't punish soldiers with any punishment that doesn't follow guidelines. That said, they can be ordered some stupid things. My friend got ordered to move a box weighing about 50 pounds from the barracks to the shower every 2 minutes for 2 hours. The officer's reason for it was because he didn't know where to put it and was trying to decide if it should be at the barracks or the shower. In the end, he ended up telling him to load it up in the truck. Having to apply suntan lotion to a ton of large rocks so they don't get sunburned. Then, having to flip every rock and reapply as needed. We were deployed in Iraq and a guy was pissing in water bottles instead of walking to the bathroom at night. This is a common thing, but this guy wasn't getting rid of the bottles. He'd keep them underneath his cot for some reason. When the first sergeant found this out, he made the guy report to the commander while holding all of his piss bottles in a box in front of him. They tore into this guy while he was holding a box of his own urine. There was a time when we made a private sweep all the sunshine off the sidewalks. It took the poor guy all day. Another oldie but goodie is making a private hug a tree. It all depends on how you take it. Some privates thought it was funny to have to hug a tree, but for some reason some of them thought it was really embarrassing. I have an opposite story where we punished our superior. When I was in South Korea in the mid 2000s, we had an absolutely cunt of a lieutenant. He walked around like his didn't stink. Thought he knew everything there was to know. Pretty much like most LTs. One weekend a bunch of us were walking back from the PX. Loaded up with beer and snacks for the weekend. Like each of us had at least a case of beer and a few bags each. Hands were totally full. Our LT walks past us and we nodded and said sir instead of saluting. Most officers won't make you put down all your it just to salute. At least the good ones. This guy flips out about us not saluting. And proceeds to PT the duck out of us for about 30 minutes. After that it was on. Anytime we saw this guy, he would grab everyone we could. Form a line with about 20 feet distance between each person. And walk towards him. He would have to salute every single one of us. It didn't matter where he was. When we saw him, we had about 20 soldiers beelining towards him just to salute. The best was when he was on his cell phone cause he would have to put it down every 10 seconds just to salute all of us. This went on for about 3 weeks. Him saluting everyone all the time every single day. He finally got tired of it and asked us not to salute him anymore. Probably the 3-way. One guy on his back doing sit-ups. One guy with his butt to that guy's face doing monkey duckers. The last guy's face between the sit-up guy's legs doing push-ups. Funniest it I ever saw. My grandfather, Korea vet, had a story about a guy who kept getting things taken away from him as punishment. Apparently before it was over, he had no socks or shoelaces, no underwear, and they took the inside part of his helmet. A private put his camo on looking like Gene Simmons. He had it on for an hour before the drill sergeant put him upside down in a tree shouting I'm a chameleon, no one can see me.